Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode number 8 of From Our House to Yours. I'm Virginia Amos. I'm a realtor with Caldwell Banker in Old Town Alexandria. And today we are talking with two members of the executive board of the Delray Citizens Association. We're keeping it really local and in the hood. I was actually on the executive board myself for 4 years. I know what incredible work and energy the board puts into representing the community, representing issues at City Council, and we're delighted to have Virginia Bush, who is the current president of DRCA, and Sean Crumley, who is secretary and who has been on the board how many years now, Sean?
I was afraid you'd ask me that. I think about 10 altogether.
Good for you. So you've seen a lot of changes through the years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
For
So
sure.
let's talk a little bit about, when was the first time you had to go online with a meeting that you needed to cancel the regular monthly meeting?
I believe that last month was the first time the DRCA has ever gone virtual. Is that correct, Sean?
That's correct. A few years back, we had a phone-in opportunities for people, but it was never a virtual meeting.
Okay. So that was in April then. Did you not have a March meeting?
We had a March meeting. That meeting was in the middle of March, and it was the day before Washington, D.C. closed all businesses with, I think it was 50 or more people. So a number of us on the board got emails that night saying that we were no longer going into our physical work buildings, and we were on mandatory work from home. And it was an interesting time too, because State Senator Adam Ebbin was one of our guest speakers that night. And we were just starting to talk about the coronavirus and the implications. And he had just come up from Richmond. They had just were at the tail end of the session. And he was rushing down at 7 a.m. the next morning. He kindly came up mainly for our membership meeting. And then he was driving back to Richmond for a coronavirus task force meeting.
Oh, goodness.
So we just snuck in right under the radar with our April meeting.
You were right on the cusp.
Yes.
So have you heard any particular response from the neighborhood through DRCA?
Well, as far as the virtual meetings go, I think that the attendance said a lot. We, at the most this past year, have had about 30 people maximum at our meetings, and that's how many were on our first virtual meeting.
Oh, great.
So that said to me that we're potentially reaching a lot of people who aren't able to come in person. I know young families and other reasons people can't show up physically. And so I'm really excited about being able to reach more members in this format.
And get more members.
And get more members, yes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not only, I think you're absolutely right that there is a certain audience who has never been able to really commit to it because it's in the evening, perhaps, because they have small children. I mean, just a variety of reasons. And this is a great opportunity. I think lots of us are finding that there's more than one way to hold a meeting or to connect. But then also the fact that you did have 30 people come online, I think speaks to how much we all need connection, whether it's in person or it's through a computer screen. And particularly in Delray, I think that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, it's a choice of, who knows how long we'll be home for. And it's a choice of, the city's still doing business. We still need to work with the city. We can either just disconnect or we can, take a bumpy jump forward and try maybe somewhat awkward virtual meetings to start, and we'll, get smoother and easier over time. And I think it's worth it.
I absolutely agree. And Sean, I'm going to kind of pick on you a little bit here because you
Pick
have
on me.
been with the association for so long. Can you tell us a little bit about how and when the association got started?
You didn't tell me there'd be history questions. We organized in 1954. That much I remember.
Okay.
And we've been active ever since. And we've done all sorts of things around the neighborhood, from trying to improve. I mean, back before Delray became a hotspot, I mean, in a good way.
Yes, yes.
We had a lot of boarded up businesses, so business development was something that the neighborhood association really focused on, and make Delray, Mount Vernon Avenue a vibrant retail and restaurant district. I mean, that's something that we try to encourage development in that regard, and
Right.
welcome businesses, and I think we still do that, and we're certainly showing our support as best we can during this physical separation that we have to maintain during COVID. But we've done other activities to support community. We've organized House and Garden Tour for a number of years, every other year. We've had chili cook-offs. We've had information workshops. We contribute to the Alexandria Scholarship Fund. There's the Adopt a Park program that we have a lot of members who are very active in. So there's a lot of different activities, and people can pretty much pick and choose what they want to do. We hope they all come to meetings so that we can present a unified consensus of what the neighborhood opinion is on important issues. But in terms of what one does on a regular basis with the association, they can serve on a committee and just focus on that, whether it's parks or a neighborhood beautification or the home and garden tour, for example.
Great. So there are lots of different ways to be involved.
Exactly.
Good. And I think, Virginia, when you first took office, didn't you go and meet with the mayor?
I did. When I first took office, I was introduced to a slew of people I had not met before. I had heard of the mayor. I knew who he was. And we had kind of a late coffee at St. Elmo's. And we sat out on the patio, and he kind of filled me in. Mayor Justin Wilson was the president of the DRCA in the early 2000s. So he had a lot of advice from that role, and some advice on what was potentially coming our way this year, including the Mount Vernon redevelopment plan, which has been a big part of our work this past year.
Yes.
But it was a wonderful meeting, and it's really exciting to live in a city with a mayor who's so connected to the neighborhoods and the issues that need to be tackled that day.
Well, I really give you props for as a new civic association to president to reach out and talk to the mayor, and because Delray Citizens Association has actually had a long history of being pretty vocal when it comes to issues that are coming before city council, and how it affects our neighborhood. And so I think that's an important connection to maintain.
Yeah, relationship building is really important in any kind of work you do. When you're in a community and you want to get things done, that relationship building is really important. Someone told me when I started that I should consider myself like the mayor of Delray, which is not how I see myself. But I do try to build those connections. I think we have a strong connection with the DRBA right now. Strong connections with the city folks who are planning the redevelopment of the heart of Delray. Those connections are really important.
They are, and it certainly makes it easier to sit down and to have those conversations and to make your voice heard. So tell us a little bit about this significant donation that DRCA has made recently, and how the board and the membership came to the decision to do that.
Yeah, so we had our first board meeting soon after the shutdown began, and we knew we all really wanted to do something. And we wanted to do something on a local level. Things were happening nationally, but every local community is unique and different and has different needs. And I think partially through this redevelopment of Mount Vernon Avenue, of Delray and Arlandria, we had started to learn a lot more about the needs in the community. And one thing that has come up during different surveys we've put out is housing needs in Arlandria. So one thing we started talking about right away was concern for evictions and people becoming homeless because they had so suddenly lost their jobs and can't pay bills and can't pay the rent. And how can we help with this? Also, of course, food assistance and what can we do here? The DRCA typically focuses on beautification and parks, and we have wonderful parks and wonderful facilities in the neighborhood. And so we thought we should, it's a really unique crisis, and we thought we should do something meaningful and substantial to help. Alongside that, we had a large donation that we were going to be giving to an event this spring that was canceled. So we had a good amount of funds kind of remaining from that as well. So we went back and forth for a little while, and eventually we came up with this idea of donating $5,000 to 2 local charities, and we did our research, and we decided to reach out to Casa Chirilagua and the Alive Food Pantry. And for those of you who don't know, Casa Chirilagua typically does a lot of mentorship and kind of aiding in the community. But because there was so many people became unemployed when the area shut down, they started doing rent assistance and bill assistance.
Tell us where this area is in relationship to Delray.
Yeah, so Chirilagua is another name for the Arlandria neighborhood. So there are direct neighbors. Most residents are from Central American immigrants, and they have unique needs that Casa Chirilagua really helps very directly with. And so we wanted to help our neighbors. And so at the time, there weren't many housing assistance charities that we could find locally. And then another charity we went to was Alive, which was Sean's idea. Well,
they really have a great reputation in the city, and they're really a solid organization.
They had a tremendous need that was identified early on in the crisis.
Yeah, they seem to really have scaled up quickly and efficiently, and I'm very action oriented. And so, yes, this is a large sum of money, but I'm a project manager in my day job, and I wanted to make sure it was going to be executed quickly and efficiently as well. And so we as a board kind of came to decided on these amounts and these places, and then we started brainstorming how can we do more. What else can we do? Should we challenge individual residents to donate more? And we thought, well, we know all of our neighbors are already donating a lot to other causes. So we came up with this idea to challenge the neighborhood civic associations to match us. So I'm reaching out today again. If any civic associations are watching, please reach out to me at president@delraycitizen.net or anyone on the board for more information. We'd like to challenge you to match our donation of either $2,500 or $5,000 to a local charity helping with COVID relief.
That's a great challenge. Just a question, do you by any chance know how many civic associations there are in the city of Alexandria?
I don't exactly. I'm going to go with 30.
Oh my God. No, higher. It's like
It's actually over 150.
Oh, 150. Oh God. Well, if
And
this
I
was
know
closer,
that
I'd be high. I'd be closer.
I know that only
Without going over.
I was at the Federation one night as the representative from DRCA, and Chief Brown was there, who's the chief of the Alexandria City Police, and he was talking about when he first came here, he made a point of going and meeting with every single civic association in the city, and that was the number that he quoted. I was astonished.
Wow.
Yeah, there are lots.
Well, I have just reached out to our neighboring civic association.
Potomac Yard?
Yeah, Potomac Yard, Rosemont, Northridge, and Old Town are the associations I reached out to. And I've been in touch with the AFCA, and I'm excited to hear their response. And I understand too, I think a lot of it for us, we had to have a membership vote to donate this amount. And the day of the vote, somebody called a quorum, which meant on our first virtual meeting, we had to get at least 30 people on the call in order for the vote to be legitimate. So it was a little bit of a mad rush that day, getting friends and neighbors on the call.
Right.
But it was worth it. It was so exciting to see that people really believed in this and supported it and wanted to take action.
I think it is just a wonderful addition to the legacy of DRCA. And like I said at the beginning, my sense of DRCA, particularly in the years that I was involved, and even now, is that the association really looks for issues that are pertinent to our neighborhood and then looks at ways to contribute to either solving the issue, bringing the issue to the forefront, or just highlighting the issue so that other people know about it. And I think that's exactly what this board has done. And I really congratulate you for taking that bold step.
Well, thank you, Virginia.
It's a great piece of work.
Bold one.
It's a great piece of work.
Thank you to the whole board and the membership. Thank you to the whole board and the membership. It was really refreshing to see everybody want to get behind social issues.
And just because we couldn't have everybody here today, who else is on the board? Give them a shout out.
Well, I'll give it, we can go back and forth if you want, Sean.
Oh, no.
I'll give a shout out to our past president. Annie has been a great mentor through this process. Amy Vandervliet is our Chief Information Officer and helps us with all of our tech and a lot of our social media issues. Sean, you're up.
Oh, Vice President Betsy Whalen, and me. I'm already here. Who else is there? I forgot.
And our awesome, organized, efficient membership chair, Sarah.
Oh, that's right.
Who was a tremendous help during our chili cook-off.
Oh, good.
I don't know if any of you had a chance to attend that.
Now, you mentioned something about, I'm going to come back to the House and Garden Tour in just a minute, but you mentioned something about the Mount Vernon redevelopment plan. I know I went to one of the meetings, I've looked at some of the things online. What are the next steps with that?
So I've invited the city planners to attend our membership meeting next week, and I'm hoping that someone is able to. I know they're having some staffing changes, so hopefully somebody can attend because I don't know if anything is changing because of budget changes in the city. But the next steps, the timeline I've seen says that in the spring through the middle of summer, the city will focus on Arlandria and the Arlandria housing needs and concerns and address more of the social impacts there. And then starting in late summer, the city will start working with Delray and talking about housing and commercial kind of real estate in terms of preservation. And those will be the initial talks.
Okay.
We don't have, they've had this feedback stage for a while, and I think really through the summer it will continue to be an engagement and a collecting feedback phase of the plan.
Okay. Great. Now, I know that you mentioned, I know because Sean has been active on social media, that there is a board election coming up. Are you still looking for potential candidates, or are you in good shape with that?
We are. So we are. I think we're fairly sure we're actually looking for a vice president position, activities director, and membership chair. And we're also looking for a parks chair, which is not an elected position, but there's an opening with that as well.
Okay, so if anybody is interested in stepping forward, they should just get in touch with you or Sean.
Yes, or you can email Annie at pastpresident@delraycitizen.net.
All right, and when will the election be held?
That's a good question.
Well, according to our bylaws, we present a slate of candidates at our May meeting in the May newsletter.
Okay.
And then in June, we have our elections.
Okay.
That's still the plan.
Okay.
Unless something catastrophic happens, which we hope not.
Okay, so people still have a little bit of time to think about how they want to get involved. They can call you and talk about those positions and find out what's involved.
Exactly.
It's a really, I think anybody who lives in Delray should at some point step up and
or move out.
Or I don't know if I want to go quite that far, but
it's a nice slogan: step up or move out.
I will say this: if you live in Delray, you should join the association. It's $25 a person. Is it 25 or 30? It's 25 for my age group.
It's 25 a person.
Okay.
Including families.
Yeah.
I mean, what a bargain. You get entrance to the chili cook-off. You get discounted prices on the tickets for the Delray House and Garden Tour. You get to know your neighbors. And most importantly, it's just like voting in elections. You make your voice heard. So if there's something you don't like or you do like, you get to raise your hand one way or the other. And I think that's so important. So I really encourage everyone out there to go on the website, which is we posted this morning, and sign up and do your duty. I think that's a good thing.
And we'll be holding our next membership meeting virtually next Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And the only way to get a link for that is to become a member, and you'll receive it through the newsletter.
Okay. I don't get my newsletter anymore.
Okay. So I think when you renew your membership, there's an opt-in. You have to opt into the newsletter. So
but it renews automatically.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put you in touch with Sarah can help with.
Okay. I'll talk to Sarah about that because I want to be linked in for the next meeting. And so the other big thing that the Citizens Association does every year, which I know, or not every other year, which is a huge moneymaker, is the Delray House and Garden Tour. And that has produced some significant money in past years, which have really gone to, it helped the Mount Vernon Community School finish up their playground. It's gone to a couple of parks, and the House and Garden Tour was supposed to take place this Saturday, and unfortunately, we had to cancel it. So on Friday, I am going to be talking to Kelly Beeland, who is, along with me, kind of doing publicity for the House and Garden Tour. And we're also going to be talking to one of the homeowners who was supposed to be on the tour. And so just talking about the decision and, what it's like to be on the tour and kind of teeing it up for 2021, because I can't imagine going too long without having a house and garden tour. I think it's one of the great things that that the association came up with, and it's a great way to show off Delray. So I think
our contribution to the Alexandria Scholarship Fund.
That's true. It does help fund that. It's a significant amount of money that comes in. And not only does the money come into, I think this is what's so great, not only does the association benefit, and we always name a group or something that is going to get that money, but the number of people who come into Delray on that day flood the restaurants and the shops. So it's another, it's an economic boom all the way around.
And so it's been rescheduled for May of 2021.
Yes, Mother's Day weekend.
Okay.
It's always a Mother's Day weekend. We settled on that, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago. And so that is our plan. And as for now, everybody is on board that agreed to be on this year. And we'll see what happens. So I know both of you all are extremely busy and that you actually have an executive board meeting tonight. So I just want to thank you for taking the time out to come and talk with us. And once again, I really encourage everybody to go on the DRCA website, sign up, make your voice heard.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely. Oh, one more thing. You first, Sean, what are you most looking forward to when you're not quarantined?
Happy hour.
Okay. And what about you, Virginia?
Just hanging out with my friends and neighbors.
During happy hour.
In the backyard. It's starting to get warm. We want to be outside.
I know. I miss it. I think I'm going for a haircut, but
That's why I'm wearing my hat, because you don't want to see what's underneath here.
I've got it. All right. Thank you again. And we'll see you Wednesday night. Yes.
Wednesday night.
Okay. We'll see you Wednesday night. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Are we done? Okay.
No, almost.
Uh-oh.
There we go.